This week, Russia launched one of its biggest aerial attacks. At least 9 people are dead and close to 500,000 people lost power. Joining me live is Vasyl Myroshnychenko, Ukraine ambassador to Australia. Thank you so much for your time, Vasyl. Is this one of the biggest aerial assaults since in weeks?
Yes, it's been one of the most massive ones. And also, if you look at the weapons which were used, some supersonic missiles and kinzhals, some that we cannot intercept because they travel at a very fast speed. Infrastructure destroyed, some people got killed. So that devastation is continuing. So we are seeing this Russian war crimes escalating.
And I believe the nuclear power plant has been a target this time and several times over the past year.
Absolutely. Different ambulances and other civilian infrastructure get destroyed. And by the way, there was this story about American ambulances. There is one man from northern Sydney. His name is James Spenceley. And since the outbreak of the war, he's been sourcing ambulances and raising money here in Australia and sourcing them in Western Europe and sending them to Ukraine. And he's done, I think, at least 5 or 7 missions to Ukraine so far. So we see that call for ambulances from all over the world, and I'm very pleased to see that coming from Australia as well.
Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, in his latest address this week, spoke about the provision of Ukrainian soldiers and support for Ukraine, including what you mentioned, what Australia is providing, and he also thanked the Prime Minister of Finland. What more is Ukraine wanting?
Prime Minister of Finland visited Ukraine. She also came to a funeral of Dmytro Kutsubailo, who was 27 when he got killed. And he was, in 2021, he was the youngest hero of Ukraine ever because he's been in combat for 7 years. And it was very symbolic for a Prime Minister of Finland, for a country which have seen the winter wars with the Soviet Union back in the day, and for the country which can really feel the Ukrainian pain. Look, Ukraine needs a package from Australia. We need to work on a plan for this year. So last year it's been out there defending Ukraine. This year we need to make sure that we can win. And for that, we need that assistance and military aid to be substantive, to be consistent and sustainable. So I'm currently in talks with the government of Australia on working on a plan for this year so that our defense forces know what we can expect from Australia so that we could incorporate that in our strategic planning.
And close to $60 billion worth of Russia's sanctioned assets have been blocked or frozen. Are we expecting to see more of this?
Yes, and what's most important is how we can make the use of those frozen Russian assets, sovereign assets, and also some of the private assets which belong to the Kremlin oligarchs, because this money will have to be directed towards Ukraine's rebuild and reconstruction. What we are now working on creating a legal mechanism of how it can be done, but definitely we hope to tap into those resources to rebuild the country after this terrible devastation.
And Vasyl, tell us about the Australian-Ukrainian Parliamentary Friendship Group, which was launched on Tuesday.
Every time there is an election, there is a new parliamentary groups for different countries are established. And I was very pleased that there was such a strong interest in the Ukrainian group. Up to 60 members of parliament and senators have signed up. Senator Katrine Billig from Tasmania, she is the chair of that. And the deputy chair is Senator David Vain from Melbourne. And we were very pleased that Foreign Minister Penny Wong was able to come and address the reception, which was out there, hosted by the parliament, but also Ukrainian community has supported that reception.
And you're in Adelaide today, Womadelaide, the Balaclava Blues. Tell us about them.
Balaclava Blues is a Ukrainian band originating from Canada, where we have a big Ukrainian community, and they perform this ethnic modern music. I mean, it's ethnic and modern at the same time. And I've seen them perform in Sydney the other week, and I'm very happy that they are here at WOMAD in Adelaide because it's the biggest music festival in Australia, and different countries are showcasing and bringing their culture. And I think it's very important at the times of war to have this soft power represented by culture, by music bands, by performances so that there is a strong interest towards Ukraine. So I really look forward to seeing them perform, and I'm sure there will be a great party after that.
I'm sure there will. I'm sure you'll certainly get your dancing shoes on, Vasyl. And it is good to see, isn't it, so much creativity with people supporting Ukraine in ways that they can. We've seen certainly a lot over the past year. What are we needing to look out for over the next handful of weeks and months ahead, Vasyl?
As we're moving into the spring, there will be the Russian offensive. There will be most likely Ukrainian counteroffensive. And we need to make sure that Ukraine has the right weapons, has the ammunition, has the right missiles to be able to repel the Russians from Ukraine so that we could restore our sovereignty. But what's important is that we continue supporting Ukraine and the coalition of over 50 nations, which are democratic nations, which are there helping Ukraine with this brutal Russian invasion. So it's important that there is a comprehensive plan of how that support is transferred to Ukraine, the training of the Ukrainian soldiers, the relief for those who are displaced and who are now refugees in Europe. And we already make the plan about Ukraine's rebuild and reconstruction in the future. We have to do it all simultaneously. I know it's sometimes difficult, we're sometimes stretched, too stressed out, but we are out there fighting for the freedom and fighting for the freedom for the sake of the world.
Vasyl Myroshnychenko, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot for having me.